Good evening, guys. Hello, everyone. I welcome you all to the day 3 of the JavaScript Essential program. Thank you, guys, for joining us. I hope you gain a lot knowledge from the program. Hello, Koyal. Hello, Yashita. Hello. Koyal, sorry for that. Due to the time, I can't put your doubt to the self, but today it will be cleared surely. We will cover that firstly. Hello, Diksha. Hello, Prashant Sahu. Good evening. Good evening. Dhruv, Soni, Sivaram. Hello, everyone. Yeah. Uh, so yesterday we talk about the arrays, like array methods, push and pop method, and the unshift and the shift method. Today we will go ahead. Yes, Abhishek Sinha, assignment will be given today, so we'll give it at the last. Yeah, Siddhant Suryavansham. Hello. Shruti Raj, good evening. Yeah, just guys, it's very compulsory to mark your attendance. It's right over the chat. Just mark your attendance. If you face any kind issue, you can refresh out the page. Or if your yesterday attendance was not marked due to some issues, you can mark it today by watching the yesterday lecture. Right? Yeah. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening, guys.
Good evening. Sir, can we move ahead for the today?
Yeah, we can start. Also, just one request, Jyotsna, can you send me that chat link where I can see all the chats and all the comments of the people?
Yeah, sure, sir. I will send it.
Yeah,
Yesterday, I talked you about the three doubts. We left with that.
yeah. I'll
Yeah,
clear them. I'll clear them. Can
yeah,
I
sure.
have the questions again? Uh,
Yeah, sure, sir. Actually, one question with the coil, I think
mm-hmm,
that like if we have a sequence one, two,
mm-hmm,
three, four, five, and the index number two, at index
mm-hmm.
number two we have the element same two. So
Yeah.
how we can access the element with that?
Well, you can just Komal or Koyal. Sorry.
Coil,
Coil.
coil.
Okay. Coil, when you put a square notation, a square brackets notation for the array, you are taking the index value. Okay. So you are taking the index value, you are putting in the index value, and what you get in return is the value. So suppose from your doubt, we have a sequence 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and we have this uh, index also as a same, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when you want to get the value, you put in the index in the bracket notation and it will return you the value. So that does not depend on if the value and the index are same. What you are just doing is you are just putting in the index value of the element that you want to retrieve in the bracket notation. So yeah.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
If
um
any doubt left, if, you can mention, guys. If anyone doubts is left.
yeah.
Okay, okay.
Let's do one thing, Jyotsna, because we ran out of time. When I create this assignment, okay, when I create
Yeah.
this assignment questions, you just forward me some questions which are in the doubt section, okay, two or three
Okay,
questions.
okay.
I'll just put the answer in a written format, and I'll when I send the assignment, so the doubts will also be cleared, so that we don't waste time in this one, all right? We can do that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure, sir. Yeah.
yeah. Hello guys. I hope you have studied a little about arrays yesterday. The things that we finished were some array methods called pop, push, shift, unshift, and two important methods that was splice and slice. Um, just to check if you guys are aware of the concept, I just want you guys to try something. But before that, if uh, I can get the chat link, Jyotsna, the comment section, so that I want to check the comments. If it's not possible
Sure.
now, then we can just do it after some time, whenever you can provide
Yeah.
me the link. Okay.
Just a minute. I will provide you in the private chat.
Yeah. Okay, sure. So guys, I'll put the question in some time. Just give Jyotsna some time, and by that time we can start with our topics for today. Okay. So those are objects and functions. Now, let's see what are objects. Okay. Um, so before we when we went through arrays, we saw that okay, what is an array, how it you know reduces the lines of code, how we can just put in some values inside an array and call it. So objects is similar in a way. Okay, so objects are used to represent a thing. Okay, so what I mean by this is that object could be anything, like it could be a person, a car, a building, a book. So when you are writing a code for a person or a car, you can use objects. And now why I'm telling you to use objects, so basically uh, anything that is made up or can be defined, anything that is made up or can be defined by a set of characteristics, you in that case you can use objects. Now what characteristics I am talking about here? So let's take an example. Let's do this. Okay, so this is how you initialize an object. Okay. Now here I have created this. Let's do this. So what I have done here is I have just created an object. Now how do you create an object? You put this object to a variable. So for example, now I'm just typing it over here. Var, okay, object. So this is what we are just declaring a variable right now, and then I'm creating an object here. So now to create an object, I put a curly braces. Okay. Now when I put in something, it is a key. Okay, and here I will put a value. So sorry, value. Right. So this is how an object looks like. The object is covered in a open and closed braces, curly braces, and the first thing here we are putting is a key. Okay. Now this is a key, and this is the value. Okay. What people confuse an object is like this also, right? So this is not an
So,
object. Yeah.
chat link is provided in the private chat, and
Okay.
can you please zoom in the screen a little bit?
Okay. Is this fine?
Yeah, yeah, fine, sir.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So yeah. So this is yeah. So this is how you create an object. Okay, with a curly braces, and you put in a key. Now, what people confuse here is if you put a single quote. Now, this is a format called JSON format. If you have ever heard that you get a data in JSON format, so this is how a JSON format looks like. But we are not here to study about JSON right now. What JSON stands for, it is JavaScript Object Notation, JSON. We called it JSON, we call it JSON also. So this is how a JSON object looks like, but we are not here to study about JSON. So the proper declaration of an object is this way. You put in a key, and this is the value. Now, as I had mentioned in the definition of an object, it could be anything. It could be a person, but what it does is basically it can be defined as a set of characteristics, right? So here it's a property, right? This is a property, and this is the value. So that consists of this is a property that consists of a key and a value, right? So this is how you define an object. Okay. Now, for example, let's take this example. I have created a variable called person. Okay, and inside that I have given three things. Okay, one name Zach, the age, likes coding, if it's true or not true. I mean, this is the value. Again, the age is a value, and the name of the person is again a value. Okay, so this is how it looks like. This is a proper object. Okay, here it is a key, and here it is a value. Okay, I hope this is clear. Now, how we can access? So we had seen yesterday there were various ways to access add or remove from arrays. So similarly, we have methods to add, remove, and access from objects also. So one thing for you guys is, and the good thing for you guys is the syntax is same. So you can use a dot notation or you can use a curly braces notation. I'm going to use the curly braces here. So what we are going to do here is we are just going to return console dot log. Okay. Now what I'm going to return here is the name. Okay, the name of the object. But you cannot just return name here. Okay, name. VS Code automatically tells me that name is not defined here. So what you are going to do is you will be taking the person, the object name. Okay, so what the object name here is person. Okay, and inside that you will be putting the key of what you want to retrieve the value of, right? So here if you put in, actually the name is not keeping it because a name is something like void. The declaration was marked deprecated. Okay, let's see what the issue is. Just give me a minute. Okay, sorry, it shouldn't be this, it should be this. Yeah. So what we are doing here is we are taking the key of the object person, right? So this is how you retrieve something. Let's see if we get the desired output, we get the name, we get the value, right? So this is how you retrieve something. Here I have just defined an object. Okay, I have defined an object called person. I have given some characteristics like name, age, likes coding. Okay, and there are the values of these characteristics. Now if I want to retrieve the name of the object person, I put in as this syntax. Okay, and I get the desired result as that. I'll just zoom this for you guys. So it's not, is this okay?
Yeah, sir. That's
Okay.
fine.
Okay. So yeah. So for example, now let's see if I can put in as age, and let's see if that returns as the value, and it does return the value 33. Okay. So this is how you retrieve something. Okay. Now what if you want to change something? Now that we have seen, okay, that we are retrieving something, let's try to change something. Okay. Let's do this. What, how I will change something? Let's see. So what you will do is you can use this person in a similar way. You can put in age. Okay, and you can put in let's say 23. Let's see if this works, and let's console log this. Yes, you get 23. So that's how you, that is one way of how you can change a particular value of a characteristic or a key or a property. Okay. So just keep in mind, there are various ways people call it. They call it the characteristic, they call it the property, they call it the key. You have to figure out one thing, that you will always standardize your it for yourself. You know, the way I like it, I always call it the key and the value, because it's very simple. You know, it's the key, this is the value to that key. So that's how you can also just standardize it for yourself. If someone says that please take out the characteristic, then of course you can always question them, okay, do you want the key of the characteristic or the value of the characteristic? Because a characteristic is not as clear, right? If I tell you that pick a one characteristic of the person object, you will be like, okay, which characteristic? Or do I want to remove all the keys of these characteristics or all the values of these characteristics, right? So you can always keep it a standardized format. You can always call it a key and a value. Okay. We have just seen how to retrieve it. Let's see if we can also do this. Let's see if we can do this. Yes, you can. So for anyone who is a little confused, okay, do I need a square bracket notation or a dot notation, right? You can use both. I will send you guys one article link, which is a good article, which shows why you shouldn't use a, a dollar, sorry, why you shouldn't use a square bracket notation, and why you shouldn't use a dot notation in some conditions, right? So I will send you that link, and that is one of your homework for you guys to just read that article I will ask you guys tomorrow if you just figured out why and when you should use a particular notation. Okay. For just to be clear here, I can do this also, and let's see if this works also. Okay. Yes, it does work. So you can use both, which is this or with the dot notation. Okay, clear. So we have just seen how you can modify something. Okay, and we have just seen how you can retrieve something. I'm just going to clear this out for you guys. Okay. Yeah. Now, when this is done, let's see if I can get all the key values here. Okay, for example, guys, these objects, the object lessons that we are going through today is very basic. Okay, we are not going into the the object oriented programming. We are not going into that. It all consists of inheritance and stuff like that. But if you are a little more interested, of course, I've been telling you guys since 2 days, MDN is a best resource. You can just read about it a little more. You know what is inheritance, how it is being used in objects, right? What is the this keyword, if you have ever used this keyword. So those are some concepts that we are not covering in this session, the whole 5 days. But I'm just giving you a heads up. Okay, the way you declare an object, the way you retrieve a value, and the way you modify a value. We have finished two things. There is one more thing. Okay. Now, suppose you have this person. Okay, this person object. Now, suppose your boss tells you that, okay, I have this object and I want all the keys in this object. I don't want the values. I just want the keys. So now what you'll do, you won't be doing this, right? Console.log and just pick person dot name here, then put person dot age here, person likes coding here, because when you work in a big application you won't get this small data. You will have like thousands or 10,000 characteristics. Just like I told you guys yesterday about array, you will have 10,000 elements. Then how will you do it? So if you remember, guys, we had used a for loop for that. Remember the parameters, the way you iterate something, right? So there we had used a for loop. Now here we will be using something which will, which is a little different, but it gives you the same thing. Okay, the same output. So for example, let's consider this, that I am picking out all the keys from this person object. Okay, so what we will be using here is for in loop. Okay, now yesterday we were only using the for loop, not the for in loop. I'm being very clear right now. There are two types here. The one we used yesterday was a for loop. Now today I'm just giving you a heads up with a for in loop. I'm doing this because of the time constraints that we couldn't complete all the types of loops. So I'm just giving you a little small examples of how you can implement these loops in objects or in arrays. Okay. So let's see, I want to pick out the keys, right? So what we are going to do here is I'm just going to put in a for. Okay. Now the first thing here is I am declaring a variable. So here I will put in a variable. Now this variable name is totally dependent on what you want. Okay. So for example, now I want all the keys over here, right? So I am just going to declare it as key. Okay. Now what it does is for key, now for variable key in, okay, here you are using a for in loop. So right, we are using var variable that I want. This is totally on my this. Whatever I want to name it, I can name it. You can name it X, you can name it Y. Okay, however you want it. Just to be a little clear, because in code when you write 1,000 lines of code and when someone is reviewing, you don't use some random variables. You use the name of a variable should define what you are retrieving or what you are deleting or what you are updating. So the variable names, the let something, you don't write it as a, let a equals to this, let y equals to this, let x equals to this. No, We are using it over here because we are just considering a small piece of code. But always keep in mind that whenever you use a variable, you define the variable specifically of what you want to achieve with that variable. Okay, so what I want to achieve here is I want all the keys of this person object, right? So here for variable key, okay, in where, in the person object, so in person. Okay, I want to console dot log all the key. So here, it is as simple as that. I am just creating a variable key, and I want to iterate it for every key in the person object, right? For every key. So I am just console logging it, and let's see if we get the desired output. I would want the name, age, and likes coding because these are the keys, right? Let's see if we get it, and we do get it. So name, age, and likes coding. So what it does is it is just a way to iterate an object. Okay, whenever you are using a key value pair, this is very important. Whenever you are using a key value pair, it is very easy to use a for in loop, okay, instead of a for loop. For loop, maybe you can try it on your own. It might be a little difficult, but that is why JavaScript came in with a for in loop. So what we are doing here is we are retrieving all the keys. We have declared a variable key in person, and we are console logging it. Okay, this is one way to retrieve all the keys. Now you can ask me that, okay, I have got the keys, but now what if I want only the values? Okay, so now what we are going to do here is it's just one thing. So if you have just paid attention to a little bit over here, how we used to get out the value. So the value you used to do this, right? Person dot name, right? Or or let's do this person and this, right? So when I used to console log this, you get a value Zach, right? Now what will you do here is as simple as that. You will just put in person, okay, and you will just put the key, right? Because now the key value is iterating, right? It is going to iterate on its own. So every value in this person object will be over here, right? You're getting my point. So if you want the value, you put in the object and you put the square notation and you get in the key, right? The variable key that you are using, and when you console log it, you get the value. If you remove this and if you do this, you get only the keys. As we just saw, you get only the keys. But if you want to get the value, and let's see if we get all the values. Yes, we do. So we get all the values by using this. We are just putting in the person object, and we are uh, retrieving all the values using the this square bracket notation. Let's see if we can get it via the dot notation also. The VS Code is not giving an error, but see, here it does. I am getting 3 undefined, right? Now, why this is getting undefined? Now, this is a simple example of why you shouldn't use a dot variable, dot notation over here. That this is exactly why, even yesterday I was telling you guys that always use a square notation because it is very uh, it has some benefits. Now what are those benefits and stuff? That is what I was telling you guys, that I will share a document with you guys, and you give me the answer tomorrow. Okay, that why dot notation is not better. So here I'm simply just putting a key here. Okay, and we will get all the values here. Okay, so this was about the objects. Fairly simple, very similar to arrays. Okay, it is very similar to arrays. The retrieving of data, the modifying of data, uh, retrieving all the values from the person object, retrieving all the keys from the person object, right? So we have just done most of the part, and that's about it for the objects. Okay, if you guys have any doubts regarding this, just note it down, and I hope Jyotsna, you can note it down for me in a note or something. As I said earlier, I will be clearing all your doubts, guys, but I will be just modifying my process and my way of approaching your doubts, because you see, every day I'm just extending 15-20 minutes of your time also, and that happens sometimes because of the doubts. So I will just note down all your doubts, and I will clear the same doubts tomorrow, so that even you can go home, or you can just check on your own also, that what you have asked, you can do some research R&D. Okay, I will share you guys the assignment questions. I will share you guys some links that is very useful. What is the difference of something and something. So I will be clearing all your doubts. Don't worry about it. Also, I got the chat link from from Jyotsna. So I'm just going to give you guys a question. Okay, and one second. Now I just have to log in into this chat. Okay, join the conversation. Yeah. So let's say, so I'm just giving you guys one question of slice and splice that we finished yesterday. I'll just check if you guys are able to solve it. Okay. Let's say I'll just take this. So you have this variable. I'm putting it on the uh, chat also. Okay. And what I want you guys to do is, I want you guys to do this. Okay, just tell me your answer, and we'll see how many guys just get it right. Please do it in your uh, take a book if you want, take a paper if you want. Don't do it on console.log, because it will directly give you the answer. Okay, so don't do that, because if it just wastes our time. So just do it in your head. Okay, if I'm telling -3 and comma -1, what you will get. And the other question would be, okay, this is the same thing. So let's remove this. I'm just putting this thing. The second part of the question is this. Okay. Yeah. Ignore the -2 comma 4 1. Let's see if you guys get -3 comma -1 the answer. Okay. I'll give you guys, like, it's 8-1. Take 4 minutes of your time. And one second. Rupali, Nandigam, and Pratiksha. One second, guys. One second. One second. So should we say, need to say the output of it? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I need you guys to give me the output. Okay, guys. Do one thing. Solve both the questions. I gave you like 4 minutes. I think that should be enough. Let's get back at 8-5. Okay, 8-5, 8-6. Give me the answer of both the questions. Okay.
So can we
Yeah.
have doubts now?
Doubts of they are solving already a question of arrays.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Just note down some doubts in a paper, right? Or just take a picture of something, right?
Um,
I will
yeah,
clear
sure,
them.
sir.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, sir.
Because I also have to complete the functions part today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure, sir.
Yep. Mm, okay. For slice -3 comma -1, 8 and 9. Okay. -3 comma -1 is 8 and 9. -1, -2, -3, -1. Okay. Right. Who said that answer? Okay. Divya. Right. Right. Sivaram, Siddharth, Giri. 0 comma 098. Okay. For slice -2 comma 4, the answer is 9. Okay. You are absolutely right, Vinod. Right. 0 comma 8 comma 9. Okay. Which is this for Shweta Singh? Sevaraman, I think you are just. Can you repeat the question? Sachin, I think my code is over here only. So what you have to do is you have this value. Okay, I'll just uncomment it for you guys. So don't console log it. Okay, I'll just remove that. You need me to tell the answer of this. Okay. Most of them are getting right. Sachin, I will wait for your answer. Dhruv, Sony, minus 2 comma 4 equals to 9, right? Divya, you are also right. Rakshit, it shouldn't be 0. It should only be 9. Okay. So how you are slicing it is minus 1 and minus 2. Okay. So the minus 2 index, right? And 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So the fourth value is, as you remember, the slice is always excluding the last value. So you will only get 9. You won't include 0. Okay. So that was for Sachin, I think. Aruna also, it won't be 9 and 0. It would only be 9. Krupa also, minus 2 comma 4. Krupa, just don't include the fourth one. Okay. You have to exclude it. As you remember, slicing, you keep the rest of the part, you only keep the selected value. Nandegam, okay. 9. Okay, right. So I hope you guys have, I mean, I'm saying the correct answers. Rakshit, yeah, yes, okay, good one. Uh, I'll nice. Okay. Sagar, Sagarika Sarkar, yeah, slice. Okay, right. So I'm seeing most of you guys have answered it right, and thank you guys. It makes me happy. So I'm assuming that you guys understood that. But also, if anyone who's got it wrong, just try some more examples. Okay. If you don't have that much time to try some more examples, I will be giving you an assignment today, which will have the slice and splice questions also, which you can try. Okay, and it will have some object questions. Okay, if you guys get it wrong, we'll obviously discuss the doubts of objects tomorrow. Okay, just like we are discussing the doubts of arrays today. Okay, so we will be doing that. So don't worry. Okay, I'll be getting in some questions about objects. So I'll just discuss it with you guys tomorrow. Okay, don't worry about it. We will discuss everything. And for arrays, slice and splice, the ones who got it right, really great work, guys. The ones who got it wrong, will be giving you the assignment questions. You can practice it over there. Or if you don't want to wait, because by the time I give you the assignment questions, I think it would be around 10 o'clock. Okay. But if you don't want to wait, so you can just try it on your own. Okay. You can take in some questions and I will send it to you guys, the questions by in some time after the session. Okay. So we have just completed the objects part. Okay, so I'll just erase this out. Now let's talk about functions. Okay, so the second part of our today's session is functions. I'm just going to remove this objects. Okay, objects. So now we have functions. Okay, now what is function? What are functions? Um, in simple words, okay, functions, it's like a piece of code. Okay, it's like a piece of code that you want to save somewhere. Okay, now for example, you write some code. Okay, that show me some message. Okay, so what you can do is you will write some piece of code. But for example, what if you have like 10 lines of code? Okay, 10 line of code, and you want to wrap it around something, right? You want to wrap it around something. So in that case, you might use a function, right? Now, for example, what I mean by this, okay, let's take a quick example. Let's do a small example first. What I'm going to do is here, I'm creating a function. So how you create a function is this. Okay, you create a function and you put in some name of the function. Okay, so the second thing is the name of the function. Okay, so I'm just putting here is show a message. Okay, and this is how you create a function. Okay, so this is how you create a function. You use the keyword function first, and then you use the name of the function that you want. Then you use the two round brackets that you have to put in. I'll tell you why. Because I mean, I think you guys know, but function takes in some parameters, right? So it does do that. So inside this, you put in some code. So over here, you will put in some code. Okay, but this is how a function declaration looks like. Okay, there are two ways. Okay, there is a function declaration uh, in one way over here, and you can also put this function declaration into a variable also. So for example, a variable, um, let's do a keyword show. Okay, let's do this. So this is also how you declare a function. So there are two ways a function declaration works. Okay, there are function statements and there is a function expression. Okay, so this there are two ways. I'm going to use the traditional way. Okay, you can also do this. If you want to save it in a variable, you can save it in a variable also. Just I'm just using some less memory over here. Nothing like great modification. So what this is, okay, this is how you declare a function. You use the function keyword and you use the name of the function, how you want to call that function, okay? And this is the round brackets. Now this thing takes a these things takes the parameters. Now, often people have question, okay? The question would be, you know, what is the difference between a parameter and an argument. Okay, I'll just tell you guys what it is in like 2 minutes. Okay, first we I'm just going to explain it to you guys and call you guys can call this as the parameter over here. Okay, let's say I want to console.log it. Okay, and I will say hello. um, okay, now I'm just console logging a message inside this function. Okay. Now how will you get this function? Let's see if you get anything from console log. No, you don't. So that's not how a function works. Okay. The function, now what you have done is you have just declared it. Okay. These are some important terminologies that you should always follow. Okay. Whenever you go for an interview also, when you follow these terminologies, it makes the interviewer also happy that okay, he knows the terminologies and he knows what he's doing. Okay, so what we are doing here is a function declaration. Okay, now if I want this function to work, I will invoke the function. Okay, now how an invoking works, you just call the function name that you have just declared with a bracket. Okay, so this is how you a semicolon is not a compulsion, but it is always it's good because if you have worked with Java or C++, you use that semicolons, right? And what if you are not working on JavaScript? What if tomorrow, I mean, after 2 months of working on JavaScript, your boss says that okay, now you have to work on Java, right? So there again, you will get a lot of syntax errors if you don't use that semicolons, and this actually happens with PHP because PHP is a backend language and JavaScript is a front end language. And if you don't, give in a semicolon in a PHP line, you will get an error and you'll get a syntax error and your page won't load. Okay, so it's always better to use a semicolon because JavaScript does not give you an error if you put in a semicolon, but PHP does give you an error if you don't put a semicolon. Okay, so it's just good practice. If you want to use it, you can use it. Okay, so what we are going to do here is, huh? So where were we? Yeah, we have just declared. So this is a function declaration, okay, and this is a function invocation, okay. How you invoke a function or how you call a function. So this is how you call a function or you invoke a function, okay. So these are some terminologies that you'll use, okay. And if now when we see we get the function, we get the piece of code that we had put in the function. Okay, so that's how a function works. Okay, now coming back to yeah, coming back to the difference between the parameter and an argument. Okay, I'll just remove this. Okay, I'll remove this also. Okay, let's do this. Okay, huh. Now instead of a function name called show message. I'm just going to take in a name called square. Now what this does is it will square. Okay. So here in the parameters, I am passing a value. Okay. Now let's say um, a number. Okay. Now this here is a parameter. Okay. This is a parameter. Now what you will do here is console.log. You guys know what is a square, right? So if 2 ka square is 4, so you do 2 into 2, right? Just for anyone who's confused with it. So what we are going to do here is number into number, right? I'm just console logging it. And now the time is to invoke, right? Because without invocation, it won't work. So over here, now over here, if you give a number, I mean, it won't work, right? I mean, what is a number into a number, right? So here I have created a function, but now it's invocation, and this is a parameter. Okay. So here, if you put in 2, okay, now this is an argument. Okay, this is an argument, and this is a parameter. In simple words, when you declare a function and it takes some parameters, when you invoke a function, it takes arguments. Okay, so let's see now if this works, and it does work, right? So this is how a function works. This is the declaration part. This is an invocation part. Okay, so whatever you want, you can put in as 6. It will give you the same output. I mean, same output as in the correct output, as I say. So it is just taking a value. Okay, it is just taking a parameter. See, when you hover over this, I get a parameter, right? So it takes a parameter, it just multiplies, and you get the value over here. Okay, you put in the argument while you invoke the function, and when you console log it, you get the value. I have just tried a multiplication one. um uh, should I give you guys something like let's just try out one addition function and just check out the result in your console log. Okay. uh, if you guys want to give me the answer in the comment section, you can give it to me. You guys have, I think it shouldn't take you much time. It should just take like 4 minutes. So just try an addition function for you guys. Okay. And yeah, just I'll just wait for 3 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes. Okay. First declare the function, then you invoke the function and put in some parameters. Okay. Yeah, Ananya got it right. Now, also, you guys, if you want to do it the other way, okay, I told you there is a function statement. So, this is a function statement, and there is a function expression also. The way you will do that is you just you just declare a variable here. So, I've just declared a variable and I called a function, okay, function, the square, okay. Oh, sorry, you won't put in because you have already declared it as square, so you won't put in over here. I will just call this as number, I mean the parameter, okay, and I will just console log this thing, console.log, okay, and this would be number into number, right? And what you will do here is, let's say var x is to square, right? This won't be console log, this would, I'll just return it. So this is a return statement, and I'll just console log the value of, let's see if this works. Yeah, it does work. So what I've done here is I've just called this function. Okay, I've just called this function and I've stored it in a variable. So what it does is it returns me the number into number, the value of it. Okay, the return is a statement that if you want to retrieve something, right? In the previous example, we didn't want to, it was just easier to use console.log. But just in case if you guys want to know about this return function also, return method also, so return is just what you want to return in back. I mean, when you declare the function, the value you want to return, right? So you just put in your return, and this square, I'm just calling it using the argument. Okay, in your in case I'm using 4, and I've just declared it in another variable called x, and I'm console logging it. Fairly straightforward, nothing very fancy. Okay, it should be easy for you guys to check this. Okay, for guys who did try with the addition also, addition for the normal function also, you can try it with this way also. Okay, it is another way. This is called as the function expression. This is a function expression. Okay, uh, okay, I see you guys are still trying. Okay, I'll just wait for 2 minutes. Hmm. I think, yeah, I think that should be enough. I mean, this much time should be enough. Okay. So now what we have done here is we have just created a square function. Okay. I saw one of the comment section which said, can we use string also as parameters? Yes, you can. So for example, let's do a little different example now. So I'm just going to show you a message. So show a message. Okay. I forgot the name who had commented it. So sorry, but I wanted to use the name. First
It's
name.
more Sheetal.
Sorry,
It's more Sheetal, I think.
Sheetal.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. Yeah. So what I'm going to do here is, yeah, what I was doing. Huh. So I will be taking a string as the argument, because first, I'm not taking the last name. I'm just taking this. Okay. What I want to do is I will, instead of console.log, let's do something else. Let's give an alert. If you guys know about alert, it's good. I mean, if you don't know, then you'll see something different. So hello, and I'll just concatenate it with the first name. Okay. So what I'm just doing here is I've created a function called show message, and that message will be an in a form of an alert. Okay. And what is an alert? You will see it in some time. Okay. And what I'm doing here is I've just printed this string hello plus this first name. So this first name is the parameter that I've just passed in the function. Okay. So now the time is to invoke the function, right? So now in invoking the function, I will just put in the first name. Now in this case, we have Sheetal. So I hope I'm spelling it right. So this is how it would look like. Now let's see if we get an output. We do. So this is what hello Sheetal. Now I just have to put in some spaces. So what I'll do here is I'll just put in a blank space, okay, and I'll just concatenate. So this is how you put in a space, okay. Just if you guys wanted to know, hello. I've just used a single quote. It doesn't matter, okay. It you can use double quotes or single quotes or whatever you want. I've just put in a space here and I've concatenated it, and I'm just showing a message. So I think I did not put in here. Yeah, sorry, I have to put in a space here. Mm, yeah. So now you see hello Sheetal. So this is what an alert looks like. Okay, whenever you want to alert something. So Sheetal, your doubt should, I think I have cleared your doubt. I'm taking a string as a parameter. Okay, in this case. Uh, Now jumping onto the next part of function, which is a little important. Okay, it's called the arguments object. Okay, and this is a very important uh, interview question. Okay, now what is an argument object? Some people were telling me that what if I want to give a particular, the parameters would be given by users, for example, and I don't know if how many parameters I have. So in this case, what we were doing is we knew, okay, we have only one parameter, but what if we have multiple parameters? What are we going to do in that case? What you can do is I'll just show it to you guys. So over here, we are just going to use an argument object. Okay. So all the functions, okay, all the functions in JavaScript can use arguments object by default. Okay. It's a built-in thing. So an arguments object includes value of each parameter. Okay. The arguments object includes value of each parameter. The arguments object is an array like object. Okay. In our case, now I'll explain when I'm telling you all these things. Some might run into some confusion. Some people might run into some confusion. I will demonstrate it with an example. Okay, but just keep this in your head. The arguments object is an array. Okay, is an array like object. Okay, you can access its values, using index similar to array. So how you used to retrieve some value, you remember about how we used to for loop the index, the values of an array. It's similar to this. Now let's see what I'm just talking about. Okay, what we are going to do here is I'm just going to do the same thing. Now I'm just going to put in a last name also. Okay, last name also. Okay, now what I'm doing here is, instead of first name, okay, instead of first name, you can also use arguments. You see this arguments. So this is an inbuilt thing. Okay, it's an inbuilt object by default that JavaScript uses. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is it uses, and I also told you that it behaves like an array. So you remember how you used to retrieve a index from an array? You used to do this, right? And if you want to retrieve the first thing, so you want to retrieve the first index of the value of the array, you used to put a zero index, right? So in similar way, arguments also work in a similar way. Now, why we are using arguments here? So that I'm retrieving the first argument, first parameter of this function. Okay. Now over here, if I want to put in the last name also, it will again be like arguments one. Okay. Now let's see if I'm putting Sheetal here. Okay. And I'll put the second parameter also. Okay. Sorry, Sheetal, this is not for you, but I don't know your surname. Okay. So I'm just putting in Sheetal Patil, okay, and let's see if I get in the uh, the value as an alert. Okay, it's loading. And just clear this out. So you see, hello Sheetal Patil. I'll just put in a space between again. I hope you guys can see my screen. I think. I can't zoom in into the alert, but it does say hello, Sheetal Patil. Please, you can trust me on that. Okay. So this is how you put in an argument. You can retrieve the parameter. Okay, using the arguments object that is given you by JavaScript. So what we have just done here is, now let's say I write something like school also. Okay, Sheetal Patil. No, let's do a college. Okay, I am in school. Let's put in a college. Okay, now I'll just put in some string here. I'll just put in a space here. Not space actually. I want to put in this thing. Um, Space here again, and the arguments now would be two, right? Because this is the second index, right? So arguments two, and you can just put in IIT. It would be in a string, so IIT Bombay. Okay. See, hello Sheetal Patil from IIT Bombay. I just did not give a space, but you understood. Okay, you understood that thing. Before from also I had to give a space. If you want, I can just put it again now. Okay, just to make it clear. Yeah. Hello, Sheetal Patil from IIT Bombay. Okay. So this is how it works. So this is how you put in the arguments object. Okay. This is how you put in the arguments object. Now, an arguments object is still valid even if the function does not include any parameters. If you just heard me, I said the arguments object, okay? The arguments object in our case is still valid even if the function does not include any parameters, okay? Now let's see this. Let's do one thing again. Let's remove these parameters, okay? Let's remove these parameters and now let's see if it still works. Okay, I'm going to reload now. And you see hello Sheetal Patil from IIT Bombay. Even if we did not give any parameters, it still works. Okay. So this is what an argument object, gives you a little upper hand. Sometimes you don't want to pass in parameters because the user doesn't know. Okay. You don't know what parameters would put in, but you know the arguments. Okay. I want to put in some statements here that the arguments would have, right? So this is how it sometimes, sometimes you code that, okay, I want to show a message, but I don't know what all sorry, what all parameters I'm going to put, but I know some of the arguments that I'm going to put, and I will use the arguments object. Okay, sorry. So this is how it works. Okay, the arguments object also works if you don't have any parameters. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'll just remove all of these things. You remember I told you guys, the arguments object, okay, the arguments object is something like, you want to put in, uh, I mean, it works as an array, so you can use the for loop also. So if you remember from up yesterday's lecture, when you want to retrieve all the elements from an array, you use a for loop, right? So in similar way, what I will do is, let's say for, okay, inside this show message function, I have this for loop. Okay, now I'm declaring a variable, let's say I will just put in here. Okay, now I is less than. You remember yesterday I was always using the length of the sequence array to retrieve all the data. If you remember. So what I'm going to do here is, now we don't have a sequence array, but we have the arguments dot length. Okay, we have the arguments. So now I'm just going to use the arguments keyword. Okay, and I will give its length. Okay, and I will just retrieve it. Where is I? Yeah, I plus plus. Okay, and I will just alert this. Okay, alert all the arguments, right? This is how you alert all the arguments, right? So here again, see, I don't know how many parameters that we are passing, but I know I want to pass in like three arguments. Okay, we don't know the parameters here, but we know the arguments. Now, for example, let's say anything like A, B, C. Oh, let's not do that. IITB. What else? Let's do JavaScript. Okay, or anything like that. Just you just get the point. Okay, it's not about the what arguments I'm passing. It's about how many arguments I'm passing without the need of including a parameter. Okay, I hope you guys understood the difference of parameters and arguments. Again, if you guys anyone has missed it, the parameter is something that when you are putting in when you are declaring a function. The arguments is something that you are putting in when you are invoking the function. Okay, so now I don't have any parameters here and I don't know how many arguments that I'm going to put, but I want to retrieve all the arguments that I'm putting. Okay. So what I've done here is I've used the for loop. It is the same thing that we are doing that we did yesterday. Okay. We are just declaring a variable I, and I am just putting in the arguments. Now this arguments, as you saw in the previous examples, it is a JavaScript array like object, and I'm getting the length of the arguments. Okay. So here the length is 4, right? And I equals to 0. So I is less than 4, right? So 0 is less than 4. It goes into this. Okay. Instead of alert, I think I should just console.log it. Let's see. Mm, I don't think there's any. Yeah, I'll just console log it. Let's see if I get it. Okay. Yeah. Saving all. Yeah. So you see, now I'm getting all the arguments that I just passed over here, right? So this is one way of, if anyone who had a doubt, ki, okay, how does the user, the user takes in some value. Sometimes, the user does not know what parameters or anything you have to pass. So this is when you are using the for loop. A simple example, and this is your homework, guys. I'm just telling it to you. What you will be doing is you will create a function addition, and you won't be putting any parameters here. So before, I had given you, right, number one and number two, and you were adding it, right? So now you don't have any parameters. You you will be adding the value, whatever whatever arguments that you will pass in the addition function. Okay, I want you guys to add it. I don't want any parameters. You put in two parameters, I'll give you 10 parameters, then you won't have any way to add it. So now in this case, you will use the arguments object. Okay, I'm just giving you the answer, but try it on your own. You will use the arguments dot object keyword. Okay, and you will put in the parameters that you want in your addition function. This is one homework for you guys. Okay, I'll just uh, if you want, I'll just put in a doc file also. But if you don't have that much patience, and if you are in full flow to just do some JavaScript for 1 more hour, you can do this. Okay. So this will be your homework. Again, just to tell you guys what I have just done here, I have declared a function called show message. Okay, it does not take any parameter. The I have run a for loop over here. The for loop takes the arguments ka length. Okay, when the arguments ka length is greater than 0, I am console logging it. Okay, and I am putting the arguments over here while invoking the function. And just simply I have just printed all the arguments that the function has been passed. Okay, a very good example and a very very important uh, JavaScript interview question that that the interviewer will ask you, if what is a arguments object in a function. Okay, so this is how you can explain it to him, and if you explain this to him, I mean, he will just be impressed. Okay, most of the people don't know this. I remember when I had interviewed and I was given this question and I didn't know this. So my manager, who I am working with now, he told me that this question is like, even he used to ask in his previous organizations, which was a big four, and even there people couldn't answer it. Okay, and this is a very important and a very tricky question. that what if I don't give you parameters? I'll tell you, for example, you add two numbers. So you will say, okay, I'll take two parameters and I'll add them and I return them. I'll tell you ki, no, but I want to give you 15 parameters. Now 15 values. You won't put all the 15 parameters like number one, number two, number three, and you won't add them like 15 times. So this is where the arguments object, array like object comes into picture, where where you don't have to put in, I mean, the parameters. You can just put in your arguments and you can retrieve it. Okay. So very important question, interview question also, and that's all for functions today. We have just completed objects, very basics of objects. If you want to get into a little core examples, you can read it on MDN also. I will be giving you some questions on objects. Let's see how if you can do it, or maybe I will give it to you tomorrow, because obviously if you read today, you will get some questions tomorrow, which I will clear. Okay, I will give you some questions on array, and I have given you one question on arguments. So you can finish that arguments thing. I'll coordinate with my team and I'll send you the link of the assignment. Okay. Yeah. So that's it from me today, guys. It's 9 minutes late. I'm really sorry again, but it's less than yesterday, so I'm happy about it. I hope you guys did understand some whatever we are doing. Okay. So you are giving us a document which contains some uh difference between, I forgot, coil. What was the difference between? Huh, yeah. The dot notation and the square notation. Yeah. I will also forward you that in the assignment questions. Thank you, really, Koyal. You were paying attention. I like it. Thank you. But no offense to anyone. I see thank you from everyone. So yeah, thank you guys for staying so late also. Yeah, and tomorrow I will clear your doubts on objects. Okay, and the questions that I'll be giving you in the assignment. If you guys couldn't do it, we'll just discuss it. Okay, I'll solve it, and you can just pay attention. It will hardly take 5 to 7 minutes. Not giving you like 10 to 15 questions, just 2 to 3 questions. Okay, so Jyotsna, is that okay?
Yes, sir. Sure. I have
Yeah.
noted out all the questions. We
Okay.
will work for it tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So
Thank.
thank you. Yeah. Sorry, you were saying something. Sorry.
No, sir. You can.
Okay. So
Okay.
nothing from my side. Nothing else. Thank you, guys. Sir, key variable gets deleted after for loop. Yeah. It does get deleted because the key is only in that iteration. Jashan, the key is only in that iteration, right? So you can't use that key, the variable again. But if you want, you can also try. If you get in some different output, you can let me know by tomorrow. Okay. Thank you, Shruti. It was a wonderful session. Hopefully, yeah. Okay. Bye, guys. Bye. Bye.
Okay, guys. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Assignment will be uploaded in the community or on the website. You can check from there. Thank you so much for being with us. Okay. Bye bye.